Hello, I'm Shirella. There was a time several years ago where I just really wanted to be of service. I wanted to help other people because I think I really wanted to prove to myself that I was enough. So I remember I had listed all the ways that I could serve people, filled up a full page of the ways that I could serve other people, and one of them was that I could help my elderly next door neighbor friend. And so I thought I will just secretly, without anyone knowing, just go and start to dig her dandelions. And this was after I had tried in many other ways to serve and try to do it selflessly and to do it without recognition. And so I grabbed my dandelion digger and went over to her front lawn, and I knew that she would be fine if I did that because my kids had been over there weeding before. So I went over and I started to dig the dandelions, and I looked back at my own house and I saw all the dandelions in the front of my house and all the weeds, and I thought about the hundreds of places I had weeds around my yard that were still there and needed to be taken care of. And at that moment, I kind of just broke. I thought, this is dumb. I am never doing this again. And I threw down my dandelion digger and walked back to my property and didn't do my own weeding and just sat there being resentful. And I thought, nobody cares that I was helping out my neighbor to dig her weeds. Nobody would even know because I'm not going to brag to anybody. And I'm not going to be letting the world know that I had done good things. And I had a really bad attitude. And I thought, how am I supposed to do this? They say that you're supposed to find happiness by serving other people, and I am not finding happiness. Not that long after, I ran into the love pyramid. The love pyramid has 7 steps. They start with, think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the triangle, and it starts out with your needs, and then it goes up to your safety and so forth. This pyramid starts with your safety first and then your needs and desires. And the reason why we put safety first is because even though for sure you do need a roof over your head and water and food and stuff like that, if that's always your first goal, then you will run into addictions and use those kind of things like eating and materialism as a crutch for your happiness. So really, safety has to come first because then you feel like you can use your needs and desires appropriately. So that's a little flopped on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So just assuming you have your needs and desires met, then you have safety first and then the needs and desires, because then we won't use them in an inappropriate way. We have that safety is the very most important thing. Third is connection. To be able to serve other people better, you need to be able to connect with them. To not just go and do something for someone who you can't even look into the whites of their eyes. This is getting to know somebody enough that you feel the energetic connection between you two. You're making a connection. Then fourth, we have loving. And this is where you actually have an exchange of the heart, where you understand them, you see them because you have connected with them and you've had your needs and desires met and you feel safe. I have to point out, if safety is in any of these rungs above where it is, it will be a problem. It will become a nuisance and something that has to be overcome. So at the loving point, you are feeling safe and you are feeling connected and you are feeling this increase in the heart feeling of your energetic connection with this other person. They say that love love is attention given freely without the expectation of reward. And when I was out digging the dandelions for my neighbor, I kind of had the expectation of a reward that somehow someone would find out and maybe say, oh, you're such a kind person. Or even ultimately that in heaven, it had served me to be able to get up to where I was there in heaven. Oh, you served and no one even knew. Oh, this will put you in the highest realms. So I thought eventually, even though maybe today or not even this lifetime, no one will notice me, it will secure my eternal reward. Well, so now that you can actually love, then after that is the 5th step. This is expressing yourself. When you can actually give attention freely without the expectation of reward or love, then you can truly express yourself authentically. And you're not trying to do something based on the ego, that you want something out of it. this is really you're able to say who you really are. You're able to express that without equivocation, without excuses, without embarrassment. Just, this is who I am. And when you can do that, then the sixth step is that you are seeing God. At this step, you can really see God because you understand love, you understand the other people, you have expressed yourself freely in who you really are, in who God really created you to be, and thus you can see God. And because of that, you see God everywhere. You see God everywhere around you, and then you love more, and you're able to connect more, and you're able to express more, and the cycle goes around and around and around. That now that you are seeing God, you want to do things for the right reason because you understand the love of God, you understand the nature of God, and that nature is within yourself as well. Seeing God is a huge step to being able to have the freedom to then finally, seventh step, serve. And here you can serve with all your heart, might, mind, and strength because your priorities are in place. And then you serve just because you just want to. It's just a natural byproduct instead of this resentful, I don't want to do this. Let me repeat those 7 steps. First is safety, must be first. Needs and desires is second, and this is just your day-to-day needs and desires, assuming we've already had that met, like in the Maslow's hierarchy. Third is connection. Fourth is loving. 5 is expressing self. 6 is seeing God, and then you can genuinely serve at the level of the 7th step. So I remember one time I was sitting there cleaning the church, and I was resentful. I did not want to be there. I'm sitting there spraying down the windows, and I'm like, oh, there's other people who could be doing this. I don't want to be here. I want to be doing something else. And I drug my kids along, and they were trying to have a good attitude, and I was trying to pretend like I was having a good attitude, and I did not want to be there. One thing that you need when you serve as well, and this is incorporated in those 7 steps that I just talked about on that love pyramid, one thing that you need is to understand your why. Why are you doing this? And like I mentioned, you could be doing it because you want to feed your ego, you want a reward. But as I sat there, I had to have a change of mind and a change of heart about why I was cleaning the church. And what I imagined was no one showed up to clean the church was dirty, people came to church on Sunday, and everyone's looking around going, this looks terrible. Look at all these fingerprints on the glass. This is awful. Who would want to be here? And they go into the bathroom and they're like, ooh, turn around, leave this edifice. We don't want to be here. And as I had that vision, I was like, oh, somebody has to clean the church. Now, it's not always going to be me. I signed up and it's been a year or 2 since I cleaned the church because my turn finally came around. But do I want this to be a clean place for us to come to church every Sunday? Yes, I do. The second thing that you need is to be true to yourself, to be authentic. So the next time someone asked me to clean the church, they're like, oh, can you clean the church? Or I think they said, do you want to clean the church? And I said, no, I don't. But I know it has to be done, so I will. And they marked me down the list. I was like, whoa, that was kind of easy. I was true. I was like, I don't want to clean the church, but I will because I know that someone has to see the clean glass and the sparkling bathrooms, and they want to be at this place. And so I loved that I could shift to where I was honestly saying, no, I don't want to, but I will. Instead of, sure, I would love to. Lie. Not being true to myself, not being genuine. Authentically saying, yeah, I see that has to be done. There's a lot of serving that's kind of the way it is. And when you have reached those 7 steps of going through the rungs of that love pyramid to the top, you know your why you're doing something, and you're being true to yourself. It naturally just comes to pass. So I'm practicing for a play right now. We're doing The Sound of Music in our community play, in our community. And I'm just happy to be at this entertainment form for me because I think it's really fun. And whenever there's something that needs to be done, whether it be help with the costumes or help with the luncheon or help with the tech and the lights and the sound, I'm thinking, I want to help. I want to be there. I want to do this thing. And I believe it's because I've met all those 7 levels on the pyramid. I know my why. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, and I'm being true to myself. So it's just a natural byproduct. It's just a expression of who I really am to want to be able to reach out and help other people. And in these cases, I have to tell myself, Do you really have the resources to do that? I know you want to do it, but can you really? And then I have to stop and say, you know what? These are some pretty intense practices. I'm lucky just to get myself here and to have made dinner and put it on the table for the family before I left. So right now, I just need to show up. I just need to be here. And even though my heart wants to serve more and I want to be more involved in a serving level beyond what I'm doing, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to happily show up on time every night when I need to be. It's such a different feeling. The dandelion digging that I was so resentful and hating it, and this feeling of I want to give, I want to naturally express who I am because it feels right. How does this feel to you? Have you ever served when you're like, ugh, I don't want to do this? Or have you served when you're like, I love doing this, this is great? Or I don't like doing this, but I know myself and I know truly what I like and I just got to do it anyway. If you like this kind of stuff, I'd like to introduce you to my 91-day app-based program on all around living healthily, from the food that we eat to the exercise that we get to the self-care that we give ourselves. And you can find this by going to www.honeydewhealthin91.com.